cost of freedom work? In fact, sometimes it's been a prerequisite before he gets to run.
Yeah, the judge in the Superior Court of Los Angeles got to see him work one time.
He didn't make it there last time, I can tell you that.
Here's a look at cost of freedom working just a couple of days ago.
This was the judge on him.
This is a horse for the background that was precluded from running in the Breeders' Cup Sprint last year because he was scratched on the morning, or a couple of days in the morning of the race, because of unsoundness issue. That's a whole separate story. Roll the clock forward. Here we are a year down the road, Tom. Do you see a difference from last year, why they scratched him, and what you're seeing here now?
Well, he had a nice big fat layoff from September to September this year, so whether the judge or the vet was right and whatever the layoff was about, you'd have to believe that he might be a better horse with that layoff, and he sure looks it here. This is a good work from Cost of Freedom. Another one that was on TVG.com when you wanted to look at some of these works. There are actually some others as well that we haven't shown quite yet that are also quite good. But Cost of Freedom, what you want to know is, do you have a different horse from the one last year? So not only did we watch this work very, very closely, in which he looks quite good, we watched him all the way till he pulled up. He pulled up nicely, went down to a jog nicely. I think he's the old Cost of Freedom.
You know, this horse, he loves Santa Anita. He's 3 for 4 here at Santa Anita. He works superb, but Carla Gaines lost him for 50,000 for a reason.
Exactly. I mean, he might lack class, but I tell you one thing. The camp is out to make a statement here. I mean, he's going to run a big race because...
But are they going to make that statement out of the gate with their post-draw next to Sensational, in between Sensational and Fatal Bullet? Are they just going to go out there and keep everyone honest?
Well, I think the 3 riders on the inside, Sensational with Victor Espinoza, Cost of Freedom with Tyler Baze, and Eurico Da Silva with Fatal Bullet, there is going to be some jockey games going on because it's all predicated on whether Sensational gets out the gate. If he's a step slow like he's been in his last 2, yep. The two Cost of Freedom and the 3 Fatal Bullet should just go on with it and maybe get Sensational bottled up.
Join in the Dance is still eligible for allowance company never won 2 lifetime, but here he is in the sprint. He's been a fun horse to watch at the beginning of the year because of his connections. The first horse that NBA star Rashard Lewis owned, but it's a long time since the Tampa Bay Derby, and as far as like a big race that we've seen from Join in the Dance.
Well, Tampa Bay Derby was the first time that Join in the Dance stretched out. He was successful doing that, and so really from that point forward, they've tried to go around the ground with him. It hasn't worked, so we're going to shorten up here with Join in the Dance, and that might be just what he is looking for. Watch him down the lane here. He carries his head a bit high throughout this work. Not exactly what I'd want to see in terms of the head carriage.
No, not really. I mean, he's 30-1 on the morning line. I think that's respective of his chances. His last time sprinting was 4 lengths beaten by Girolamo, so I don't see it in here today. And a nice work, 47 as far as the time goes, but visually, not that impressive.
When Sensational comes out onto the track, all eyes are on him, not only because of his ability, but you never know what he's going to do next. Graham, you've been watching these shows all week long, participating with us. You saw his previous work at a half mile, and he's truly a character. How do you view that? Is he just a character, or do you view some vulnerability here with the favorite?
Yeah, all the Euros are dying to see this horse because he's the type of horse we don't have in Europe, a real powerful bull of a horse who just goes hard and keeps going. So I think there's a lot of people rooting for Sensational, even though we have Fleeting Spirit. I think lots of people would quite like this one to go to America and see a real dominant, world-class sprinting performance from this fella.
And he would travel the world, you would think. Obviously, his connections would maybe think like the Golden Shaheen in his future.
No question, especially with a tap of the surface at the new Maydam racetrack next year. He's proven over synthetics. That would seem a perfect fit.
By the way, would that be a straightaway there as well?
It
just
would,
like
yeah.
It was at the old Not El Shiva. Can you imagine him
Can you
on the
imagine
straightaway?
that?
Good night.
Be lights out after the first 200 yards.
All right, the turf sprint, California flag. We saw it get away in the news of the day as the morning line favorite, but I've been a big fan of Diamondrella, and I always wondered, would she be just as capable around 2 turns? She got that win last time out, but she's always been a tremendous one-turn sprinter. I think she fits the downhill course perfectly.
Absolutely. She absolutely fits this course. She worked on the dirt last week because the turf was so soft. Just not the greatest mover in the world there in her slower paces.
No, but she's got a great trainer, and she knows how to do it, and she knows how to get to the winner's circle. This is a perfect distance for her.
The turf sprint, Diamondrella, one of many contenders in there. The Breeders' Cup turf, Goldakova, another one back to defend their title on Breeders' Cup World Championship Day. Conduit is in here to defend his title and the Breeders' Cup turf at 7-5. And Graham, Conduit has looked great, along with many others who have shipped over here for this race.
Yeah, Conduit's the reigning champ, and he deserves 100% respect. But he's got a serious rival in his stablemate, Spanish Moon. I stalked Kieran Fallon for about 15 minutes this morning. He was very high on this horse. The horse looked in as good a shape as any horse I've seen here all week. And he's just a slow burner, an improver. Tactically, he's made for this race. Fallon knows exactly what he's got to do. He's got to keep the freewheeling Precious Passion in his sights. He's got to keep an eye on Conduit behind. And I think he has to strike and try and get first run on Conduit. If he does that, he's a big, big player.
This is an 8-horse field. I don't see the Americans filling out the superfecta.
I think that's silly, because I think Precious Passion is going to have 10. But I thought it was interesting what Graham said, and that is, they're not going to let him get totally away. They do respect his speed. They don't just expect this horse to lay down in the stretch.
But they need his speed, too. They need his speed for their late close. So he is a welcomed entry in this race as far as the Europeans are concerned.
Another race where it looks like Europe really has it over America, the Breeders' Cup Turf. We're going to be talking about all the races over the 2 days and our preview shows that are coming up Thursday and Friday. Our Thursday preview show will highlight everything going on Ladies' Day. It's 5:30 Pacific time, and we can confirm that we will be at LA Live, taking a show on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Downtown from LA Live, that's the Nokia Theater just across from Staples Center. The Los Angeles Kings will be playing there that night, and there will be a Breeders' Cup party at ESPN Zone, the newly revamped LA Live, courtesy of AEG.
Our Friday show will be about Saturday's racing. Do note, preview shows both Thursday and Friday, 5:30 Pacific time, right here on America's Horse Racing Network, TVG. When we return, we'll talk more about the ladies on the Works. Proviso. Tom's been looking forward to talk about her this morning out on the track. And then Junia Tapizia dumping Kieran Fallon. We'll be back with more right after this. Sign up for a TVG account and play the Breeders' Cup World Championships. And once you sign up, you'll be playing all year long. The best racing in America is at America's Horse Racing Network, TVG. And if with our special sign-up promotion, you bet 50, you get 50, go to TVG.com or pick up the phone and call 1-888-PLAY-TVG. The highlight to Ladies' Day on Friday will be the Ladies' Classic. Here's the field that has drawn in, and Music Note is a slight favorite at 9-5 over Careless Jewel. We're going to look at some other horses in here outside of the top two morning line choices, starting with Rainbow View. Graham, you had such high hopes for her race up in Canada last time out. Do you think she's going to rebound from what you thought was a bit of a disappointing performance?
It was a puzzling performance because she looked sure to win and she didn't, but I think confidence has increased in this filly's chance over the last 2 weeks, probably because she's been in California, she's had time to settle, she's put on a little weight, and significantly, Frankie Dettori, he doesn't ride her in the big race. He's got a couple of good rides for John Gosden. He got off here and said, do you know what? I wish I was riding this filly as well, because she's coming on a treat at the moment.
I like what I see here. I've been waiting to see this work all week long. At the very first work show, a lot of you guys disagree with me and thought Rainbow View didn't have a shot in here. I disagree. Here she is working. She's a little reluctant to switch to her right lead, but she finally does there, and once Frankie gives her a head, she levels off nicely. I look at her form. She is 2 lengths behind Midday and a length and a quarter behind Goldikova in a couple of her starts this year. Most of us, or a lot of people, have considered those were 2 Breeders' Cup winners this weekend. But that fact alone, I think she merits a big chance in here. I like her chances.
Guys, what about the fact that she traveled over to Canada and then she's gone on a plane and traveled down here? She's traveling twice in 3 weeks and running.
And that race was on October the 17th, Frank. It's coming back quick.
It's coming back quick.
Let's move to a local horse, Life is Sweet. She's also known as the stablemate to Zenyatta. Her best races this year were over the surface at Santa Anita. But is there the case that maybe Zenyatta's taken the punch out of her over those last few efforts, or will the return to Santa Anita make the difference?
Well, when you look at Life is Sweet, we watched her work once already, and when she worked, I thought the work was very, very good. And when you look at the number of fillies in this race, in this Ladies' Classic, you can make a case that Zenyatta beats up on all of them. There's quite a few in here that she has faced and she has beaten. So I would say Life is Sweet is glad to be away from Zenyatta, certainly, but that would apply to the other horses as well.
Let's talk about a horse you mentioned at the top of the show, Tom, Proviso. And if her form can come over here and win the Spencer, even though she was disqualified out of that win, I think it actually complements Rainbow View.
Well, you know what? This is a big-time work from a filly that ran a big-time race in the Spinster, but did something that a lot of Europeans can tend to do when they're not used to American racing. She got a little wandering when she made the lead in the Spinster, and she actually drifted out. Caused her to get taken down. She was not declared the winner. She ran second, but she comes back with a very nice work here. I think you want to talk about singles. I think Proviso is a definite single in my pick 6 on the Ladies' Day.
Yeah, but Tom, she shipped all the way from France to Keeneland, then got on a plane and came here, and he's coming back a little quick. I question that move.